She was a financial advisor, managed millions for other people, lost $180,000 of her own money to a Ponzi scheme she found on LinkedIn. And the scariest part, she didn't realize it was a scam until 14 months in. If a professional can fall for this, what makes you think you're immune? Here's what nobody tells you about Ponzi schemes in 2025. They don't look like scams anymore. No Nigerian prince emails. No obvious lies. No promises of 900% returns overnight. Modern Ponzi schemes look boring. Professional, safe. They promise 8% annual returns. Consistent, predictable, stable. And that word, guaranteed, that's the hook. Because human brains aren't actually addicted to risk. We're addicted to certainty. A guaranteed 8% sounds boring enough to be real. It sounds responsible. It sounds like what a smart investor would choose. And that confidence, that feeling of, I'm too smart for this, that's exactly why it works. Let me show you how the modern playbook works. Step 1. Attach to something you already believe in. Ponzi schemes in 2025 don't invent new ideas. They hijack existing ones. Crypto AI trading bots, real estate syndication, private credit funds, ESG investing. The structure never changes. Only the costume does. Step 2. Speak the language of professionals. They don't hype. They warn you about hype. They tell you to think long term, to avoid emotions, to be disciplined. They post market analysis. They cite economic principles. They sound like the opposite of a scam. And by doing that, they earn your trust before you even realize you're evaluating them. Step 3. Proof through people, not paperwork. Here's where it gets dangerous. Early participants receive real money, not fake screenshots. Real withdrawals. Those people post on social media. They tell their friends. They create screenshots. And once someone you trust tells you they're making consistent returns, your brain shifts gears. You stop asking, is this real? And start asking, why am I not in this yet? That moment, right there, that's when skepticism becomes hesitation, and hesitation feels like missing out. But here's the part that makes this truly insidious. The moment you invest, you don't just commit money, you commit belief. And defending the system becomes a way of defending yourself. This is the second psychological loop. Criticism stops feeling helpful. It starts feeling personal. Red flags don't disappear, they get rebranded. Delayed withdrawal, temporary technical issue, lack of transparency, proprietary trading strategy, questions from outsiders, FUD from people who don't understand. And the community reinforces this, not because they're lying, but because they need to believe. Inside the system, optimism, confidence, belonging. Outside, negativity, doubt, jealousy. Which side would you rather be on? That belonging, that identity. It's strong enough to override evidence. And organizers don't even need to create this culture. It forms naturally, because once you're in, leaving means admitting to things. 1, you were wrong. 2, the money is gone. And psychologically, that feels worse than risking even more. So what does the end actually look like? Most people imagine Ponzi schemes collapse overnight. Dramatic sudden. That's not how it happens. They decay. Withdrawals slow down. Communication becomes vague. Promises get pushed to next month. And organizers buy time using the most powerful drug in finance, hope. Hope that things will stabilize. Hope that a solution is coming. Hope that waiting just a little longer will make everything right again. This creates the third loop, sunk cost. People stay because they've already stayed so long. They've already told their family it's working. They've already made plans with that money. Leaving now would make all of that a lie. And that's unbearable. So they wait. And they hope. And the system keeps extracting value until there's nothing left. By the time authorities step in, most of the money has already moved. Not to some offshore account, to other victims. The early ones, the ones posting screenshots, the ones who got paid real money. That's how Ponzi schemes work. Old money pays new money, until there's no new money left. And when it finally collapses, silence, panic, blame. Victims search for villains, but the uncomfortable truth is harder to face. These systems work because they're welcomed, because warning signs are ignored in exchange for comfort. Now, here's what makes 2025 different and more dangerous. Social media algorithms don't reward caution, they reward confidence. A polished video showing results travels 10 times further than any warning ever will. Certainty spreads faster than doubt, and once a Ponzi reaches critical mass online, it doesn't need its creator anymore. Victims recruit new victims, comment sections fill with praise. Influencers amplify narratives they may not fully understand. The responsibility becomes blurred. The system feels decentralized, organic, safe, and by the time serious questions appear publicly, most of the money is already gone. None of this requires genius-level deception, just patience, structure, and a clear understanding of how humans think. Ponzi schemes don't fight human nature, they align with it. They exploit trust networks. Optimism, fear of missing out, and the comforting belief that if something hasn't failed yet, it won't fail tomorrow. History proves otherwise. Every Ponzi collapses, without exception. So why do Ponzi scams still work in 2025? Because they've learned to hide in plain sight. They don't look like fraud. They look like opportunity. They don't promise the impossible, they promise the reasonable. They don't target the desperate, they target the ambitious. And they don't rely on deception. They rely on you deceiving yourself. The question isn't, could this happen to me? The question is, am I confident enough in my own judgment that I'd ignore every warning sign if something felt right? Because that confidence, that certainty that you're too smart, too informed, too careful to fall for this, that's the vulnerability. Once you understand why Ponzi schemes still work, you start seeing the same patterns everywhere. Not just in obvious frauds, but in any system that demands belief before transparency, loyalty before proof, community before questions. And at that point, staying informed stops being curiosity. It becomes protection. If this changed how you think about trust, certainty, and financial decisions, that's the point. Understanding the psychology is the first line of defense. Because the next Ponzi is already forming. It just hasn't found you yet.